How's it going, boys? Excited for some new UFC? UFC Fight Night, Imavov vs Borralho. Should be good. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get through some of these predictions and see how we think the fight's gonna go. I did want to say sorry I missed UFC Shanghai the other week. I was very busy, so I'll try and make it more consistent. Anyway, let's try to get straight into it with Shannon Bano versus Sam Hughes. I'm going with Shauna Bannon instead of Sam Hughes. I don't think Sam Hughes is very good. I like Shauna Bannon. I don't think we need to get any more really into that. Yeah, I think Shauna Bannon's going to win. Moving on. Brad Tavares versus Robert Brzeski. Excuse me. Now this, I was tempted. I'm tempted. I don't know. I'm split on this one, right? But I think I'm going to have to go with Brad Tavares. I think Robert Brzeski getting destroyed by Ihor Portiera on short notice is just not a good look. I do like he took a bit of time off. You know, he's not that old. How old is he? No, it doesn't say. I'm pretty sure he's like 30 years old. So, you know, a little time off isn't the end of the world. So I assume he's been training, working hard. But I like Brad Tavares. He only loses to people who are quite good. And I'm pretty sure he won his last fight. And if there's someone you can consistently rely on to be good, I think it's Brad Tavares. His 21-11 record might look like not nice, but he's versed the best people in the world. Whereas Robert Brzeski hasn't. I just don't like you losing to Ihor Portiera on short notice, man. It just doesn't look good. Especially when Ihor Portiera, this was when he went down to middleweight. So he was still fighting at light heavyweight before. Now he went down to middleweight. I don't like that. You should have been able to. I think you should have been able to chin him because that would have been a tough cut for him. I don't know. I like Brad Tavares. Solid, technical. He only really gets that. He only gets knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez, and for some reason Bruno Silva can knock him out. But I just don't think this guy's going to be able to do it. I trust in Brad Tavares. I'm going to pick Brad Tavares. Up the card. Sam Patterson vs. Trey Walkers. I am definitely going for Sam Patterson. He is really good at welterweight. I think he's underrated. I like the 6'3" frame. Big reach. I just, you know what it is, right? Trey Waters, right? He's lost. He's unanimously decision winned over people who I don't think are very good. Where Sam Patterson is knocking those guys out. I'm not saying they fought the exact same competition, but the same level of competition. I don't know if Sam Patterson's going to be like some kind of... You know what he might be? He might turn into like the new Neil Magny. I can for some reason see that happening. And I just don't think Trey Waters is quite on that level. I know he's 6'5", which is really good, but Sam Patterson's still got a bigger reach than him, man. Like, I don't know. I just think Sam Patterson's going to catch him with something. Maybe fighting a taller opponent might prove difficult for him, but... excuse me. I think he fights well. I trust it. I know he got chinned in his debut, but that's at lightweight, man. I think he's much more comfortable at welterweight. I'm going to Sam Patterson. I think he's got this one in the bag. Moving on. William Gomez versus Robert Ruscella. I don't know much about Robert Ruscella. I had a quick look at his record. It's pretty good. I believe he was either the KSW or the Aries champion. He made a few defenses there. So, like, you know, it's pretty good. I'm just going to trust in William Gomez. He will out tit for tat you, I think. I don't want to really pick him, to be honest, because he's quite... I don't like when they fight on the back foot too much, because like if you look at his record, there's quite a lot of split decisions on it. And I think it's because he fights backwards, and it can be easy to like trick judges into thinking he's losing, if that makes sense, even though he's winning. I don't know, losing to Hada Emil, I don't know how I feel about that, but Harder Mill's done okay himself, so maybe. I don't know. I think William Gomez, you know what, you stay safe. Like, I don't think you're going to knock William Gomez out because he fights so much on the back foot, you can't catch him as he comes in with anything or anything like that. I don't know. I don't have time to watch all these regional fighters on the scene, but I think William Gomez, I I trust in that. Anywho, going forward, up the card, Andreas Gustafsson versus Renat Fucking I can't fucking say that name. It ends in a V, so he likes to wrestle. We get it. I'm going with Andreas Gustafsson. I thought Renat Fanakiov lost to Carlos Neo or Leo? Carlos Leo. I think he lost to Carlos Leo, man. I really think he did, and I'm just not impressed with it. And I think Andreas Gustafsson, he's a big guy, man. He's fucking Norwegian. Sorry, Swedish, but they're still Scandinavian. Those guys can get pretty big, man. And I liked Andreas Gustafsson's style. I think it's really going to work against him. He did this against Chaos Williams, who you knew coming in could catch you and knock you out, and he still made it work and dominated Chaos Williams. I don't know if I'm just going to say Renat. Renat isn't going to catch you as you come in and knock you out, I don't think. There's no way that's going to happen. And I think Andreas Gustafsson is going to just come in there, bulldoze, hold him up against the cage. I think he's obviously got a good enough grappling base to keep himself alive. I will say this though, Renat, good grappling, but he just doesn't have enough oomph to it, if you know what I mean. There's no threat. You're not going in there, you're like, oh fuck, if I get taken down, he's gonna submit me. So I think Andreas, if he gets taken down, he's just gonna stand up and I think he's gonna stay safe, keep everything good. I think he's gonna be fine, and I think Renat's not gonna be used to this guy who's just gonna come at him with pressure and hurt him. And Renat's not gonna be able to do anything to stop it. And I know just looking at these photos isn't really a good indicator, but Andreas looks way bigger than Renat, man. He's 6'1" and he's got way bigger arms. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna do too well. And you know what as well? I know Renat doesn't do well under pressure from heavy hitters because Carlos Lee was just beating the crap out of him, and then somehow Renat won. So, and I think if Carlos Lee can get up, I think Andreas is gonna get up. I'm actually really excited for this fight. I wish I could watch it live, but oh well. Yes, I'm picking Andreas Gustafsson. Up the card. Oh yeah. The Blob versus Antea. I'm going to go with the Blob. I don't like these heavyweights coming off the regional scene. Coming in here thinking they're going to out-blob Martin Tybura. Now I did look. Ante does look pretty big. But that also just makes me a little worried, to be honest. I wonder if he's on the sauce. Because you never know with these big heavyweights. Like Lucas Bukowski looks massive in his pictures, and then you look at him, he's like, oh, that's post-steroid. So I don't know about that, man. And I have to say this too. Martin Tybura has been up there for a very long time, versus the absolute best of the division. He's lost a few times, sure, but he's also won a lot of times. I thought that fight against Mick Parkin, I thought Mick Parkin won, but even if I think Mick Parkin won, Martin Tybura really kept it competitive, at least. You know what I mean? He did fairly good against Sergey Spivak until Sergey learned how to do an armbar from bottom, which was very impressive. But he does well against these guys. I know he got chinned by Tom Aspinall, but who doesn't get chinned by Tom Aspinall? If you, it's like you kind of expect that going into a fight, you're gonna get chinned by Tom Aspinall. Yeah, I trust Martin Tybura, crafty vet, been up there a long time. I know he's 39 years old, but so what? He's a heavyweight. What you gonna do? I just think he's gonna win. I don't know anything about this Ante's scrap style, but I'm just trusting. We've seen a lot recently. These heavyweights get their big. We've seen this a lot recently where these heavyweights who we kind of haven't been proven yet get their chance against these top guys, and then it just doesn't go well. I want to add to the debut against a top 10 opponent is quite a big, big thing. I think that's quite stressful. Where was it? And I think it puts a lot of pressure on you. I was listening to MVP today talk about it, and like how these guys come off the regional scene and I think they got to do the same thing they got to do in the regional scene, and it puts a lot of pressure on them, and then they like don't fight like they're supposed to, or they get not like finished or something like that. And I agree with that. I think Marcin Tybura is going to be fine. He's going to be comfortable. He's done this many times. Ante's going to be nervous. He's not, he's not going to be used to the octagon lights, the crowd, and everything. I'm going with Marcin Tybura. I think he's got this in the bag. Moving on. Reese McKee versus Axel Sola. I've been a big Reese McKee supporter, man. I don't necessarily think he's one of the best fighters in the world, but I like the guys who they lose in their first. I appreciate the balls to lose your first run at the UFC, but then have the balls to stay back in the regional scene, work up a good record, and then come back. I know Reese McKee's had a bit of a tough time, but he did. I can't remember the guy's name, but he beat the crap out of the last guy he fought and won by doctor stoppage. So good for Reese McKee. I have no idea who this Axel Sola is. I think he's 9-1, and he seems to do okay. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest. Coin flip. See, this is annoying. I don't even have they don't even have any of his stats up there, man. How am I supposed to? 10-1. He's 27 years old, right? Younger. What's his record looking like? That's pretty good. How do you win? Decision, elbows, ground and pound, punches, elbows. But I don't. What's this guy's record looking like? $16-7. I don't know, man. Look, I'm just gonna take Reese McKee. I'm gonna trust. He has some veterancy. He knows what he's doing. I think he's only got one win in the UFC out of 7 bouts or something like that. But he's fought fairly good guys. I mean, he fought Hazmat, Chidi Nurzacanu, who I know isn't as Hazmat level, but still pretty good. He's fought some other I just take Reese McKinney. He's probably, I reckon, fought way better competition than Axel Sola. So, moving on. Headliner of the prelims. I got Omar Sy versus Brenson Ribeiro. I'm just gonna take Omar Sy, man. Do I root for Brenson Ribeiro? I don't know why, but I do. Do I think he's that good? No. I can't remember who. So Brenson Ribeiro got knocked out by Zhang Min Yang in his debut. Rough. That seems to be what Zhang Min Yang does, except if you're Johnny Walker. Is that funny? He knocks out all these guys, but he can't knock out Johnny Walker. Oh, made a fool out of all of us. Anyway, then he gets out grappled by someone. I can't even remember who in his second fight, and I was yelling the whole time. I'm like, you can win this if you just play smart, but he wasn't playing smart, and I just don't like that, man. And then he lost. He beat that Kazakhstani guy who has that twitch, and then he beat and he lost on short notice to Azmat, which is fair enough. You're losing short notice to that. I just think Umar is going to do it. He is bigger, younger, probably about the same age, and he just seems to fight better guys, to be honest. Look, who did he beat? He lost to Alonzo Metafield, right? But Alonzo Metafield, he lost by decision, whereas Ribeiro got finished in the first round against Azmat. And I know Azmat's better than Metafield, but I just think it shows something that he's a bit more ready for that bigger leads. Otherwise, he finished Tuco Turcos, which I'm really happy about. I mean, Junior, to put it into perspective, Junior Tuffa lost to Tuco Turcos. So, and he beat Jung, and I'm pretty sure he knocked him down a few times in that fight. I don't know. He's just shown. I think he just has a little bit more talent than Vincent Ribeiro. I think Vincent Ribeiro's alright, but he just makes some bad decisions, man. Which is a shame because he's got all like the physical advantages, right, for like light heavyweight. But he's just not smart. I don't, I don't know what to say, man. It's unfortunate because I root for him, but he just doesn't. I just don't think he makes good decisions. Maybe I shouldn't say he's not smart. I just don't think he makes good decisions in the ring. I'm gonna go for Umosai. Moving on. Patricio Pitbull versus Luzenta Chieta. I'm gonna go with Pitbull, even though I think he's past his prime. He's got way more experience, and he did quite well against Dan Ige, who I also think is quite a good opponent. I don't know. I'm assuming this is a short notice thing, but I could be wrong. I'm just gonna take Pitbull. I just trust in him a bit more, and I think he'll do enough that it looks like he wins, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know how to pick all these guys making their debuts, man. Anyway, moving on. Ooh, this is the one I'm quite excited for. Faris Ziam versus Carl Fernandez. You got to go with Faris Ziam. He's been on a tear, killing everyone, beating people you would like, beating all your favorite prospects. Faris Ziam's beat them all, except for Terence McKinney for some reason. There's all these weird losses these guys have on their records. But yeah, Carl Fernandez beat unimpressively worse competition than Faris Ziam, who has not beat way better competition in a more interesting way. 6'1" at lightweight, that's pretty good, man. 75-inch reach. He's in France, hometown. Yeah, I feel like they put Carlos Fernandez in there, Caio Fernandez in there just to lose, to be honest. Faris Ziam should be fighting for like a top 15 spot, I reckon. Would have been cool if they did him versus Saint-Denis instead of Rufi, but this is still good. So, but I'm taking Faris Ziam. Moving on. Modestus Mikauskas versus Paul Craig. I'm going with Modestus Mikauskas. I like Paul Craig. I respect the triangle game. I think he's better at light heavyweight. I think that middleweight cut was too big for him. I think Modestus is just doing better, to be honest. I trust him. I think he's better, more well-rounded. And I remember what Kyle Bahayo said is you have to beat Paul Craig, you have to knock Paul Craig out. And I think Modestus can do that. And I think he's going to find it. And I just think it's hard to pick Paul Craig. He's getting quite old now. You root for him, but like unfortunately he's just going to get chinned because he sticks his chin out in the air. Like, what can you do? I mean with Pekauskas, but interesting fight. Maybe Paul Craig can pull an upset. He's quite good at doing that. Anywho, featured fight. Balaki Oki versus Mason Jones. I'm going with Oki here. Mason Jones did fairly good against Jeremy Stephens in his debut, but then again, it's Jeremy Stephens who's quite old and quite not into it at this point, so I don't know how much I rate that. Oki did lose to Chris Duncan, but we are finding out that apparently Chris Duncan is the next coming of Christ and is going to make a run for the title. So I don't think there's that much shame in that. He consistently does well, which is what I like, and I just think he's going to be able to. I think he's a bit bigger than Mason Jones too. I just think he's going to, kind of big brother him a little bit more, if that makes sense. I don't know, man. It's hard to pick these things. I think Oki's. I haven't seen him fight in a while. I'm just going to pick Oki. I think he's got this one. I wasn't impressed with Mason Jones's debut, to be honest. Moving on. Co-main event. This is good shit right here. Bernard Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Ruffy. Now, I don't particularly like Ruffy, and it's not because he's a bad person or he's done anything or whatnot. I just don't like the fight style, to be honest. I don't like having your hands down. As someone who also practiced the art of mixed martial arts, it's not fun to get chinned, and it hurts, and it sucks, and it can happen. And in his one loss, he just gets chinned. He was beating the guy until he gets chinned. And I think that can be quite dangerous, especially when you start getting up into these higher leagues of the division. However, as you have found out, Bernard Saint-Denis leaves his chin in the air when he gets attacked. I'm thinking of Dustin Poirier. And if you just look at his other fights, like Thiago Moises was landing on him. I think Rufi's going to land on him, and Rufi's probably going to put him to sleep, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to go with Rufi. Do I think Rufi makes it to the championship level? No. I think Rufi will be like an MVP of the division. Never really getting too high up. But then I'm still going with Rufi, but I'm going to put a point out here. I think Rufi's going to... He'll be like an MVP of the division, you know, fun fights to keep him around, good entertainment, but, you know, we don't put him against like a tough match, if that makes sense. I will point out though, Benoit Saint-Denis, good pressure, I like that. Can come in, and I think Rufi does better when he has space. Like if you think of the James Lontop fight, Rufi was getting swarmed a little bit because Lontop, you just couldn't knock Lontop out, and he won the third round. So, you know, maybe Saint-Denis, is this a 5-rounder or a 3-rounder? Because this might affect my prediction. What is it? Is it a... Does it not tell me? Okay, it just doesn't tell me. Also, I want to point out with Saint-Denis, even though I'm not picking him, I think the Bernardo Meccano fight was not a good showing of his performance. Like, Meccano catched the leg and took him down. Yeah, who knows, man. If he didn't catch that leg, who knows how that could have gone out in the first round, and maybe Saint-Denis could have caught up his attention. But who knows? Who knows, you know what I mean? It's hard to say. We can't just play what ifs. I'm just saying I think he had a poor showing there. I'm still going with Rufi. I think as Benoit Saint-Denis comes crashing in, Rufi's going to catch him, and he's got the perfect style to do that, and he will probably knock him out. I don't know, I see like... But I will say Saint-Denis could win later in the rounds. I wouldn't be against putting a live bet on that. Anywho, going with Rufi, first round or late or early second round knockout, something like that. Moving on. Main event. Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho. This is a cool fight, guys. I think the next person, whoever wins this fight is going to be next title challenger, and I think you can't even really deny it. I'm going to go with Imavov, though. I'm going to go with Imavov. I wasn't a big Imavov fan at first, just because he's not particularly interesting, but you got to admit he is quite good at just beating the crap out of people and not getting taken down, which is what I like. 6'3", bigger, same reach though, but still big, 6'3". I see him landing good shots from range on Caio Borralho. You know, he's going to land good kicks, and Borralho is a bit more of like an in and out kind of fighter. I reckon Imavov can catch him as he's coming in. I think he would have finished Jared Cannonier, even though it was stopped early. He could have. He was probably going to, and that's a big thing. Caio Borralho wasn't in any way, at any point, really going to finish Jared Cannonier. Who else? Imavov lost to Strickland on short notice, which wasn't great, but that's short notice Strickland. But you know, they changed the fight to light heavyweight instead, so who knows? Maybe that, you know, he was preparing, he was like drained and stuff, and he did fade it kind of during the last bit. And Strickland's very hard to beat in the straight kickboxing fight like that, so I'm gonna go for Imavov still. Just think he's better. I like Caio Borralho. I think he'll still be around. He's gonna be the new Jared Cannonier, if that makes sense to me. I think that's what he's gonna do. And Imavov, I don't think he beats Kazma, but probably out of all of them, he's probably got a good chance. Kazma shoots on him immediately, lands a knee up in the middle. I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to... Like, I feel like the odds should be a coin flip, but who knows. I'm going to just go with Imavov. I like him. Better trained, I think, in my opinion. Also, he's in France. You got to add that in as well. Anyway, that's about it, boys. Thanks for listening. Let's see how much of this I get right. See you next time, boys.